When making a level, a trigger section a good amount of people ignore is enter and exit effects. These are meant to help the blocks fade in and out. These can range from shrinking in and out to a spinning thing that looks not good. These types of effects work well with design levels, but work poorly with art and effect levels as they can mess up the backgrounds or effects. One thing you can do to improve your level's designs is to use the Don't Fade and Don't Enter, which can be found in the Object Info menu at the bottom left corner. These stop blocks from fading to zero opacity or using an exit trigger, which can really improve the level's appearance. Personally, I believe that if you're making a level and you don't use any exit triggers, you should put Don't Fade and Don't Enter on every object in the level so it doesn't have that ugly fade on everything. This one's fairly subjective, as some creators enjoy the object line glow that comes standard, while others find it annoying and ugly. Personally, I turn it off on everything to give it a nice clean look. It can be combined nicely with glow structures to give it an almost neon-like design. Turning it off can also be used to make object lines blend in with 3D lines, in case you're trying to make a fake wall or maybe a coin path. This technique was very common back in 1.9 with fake blocks and memory demons, like Theory of Firepower or Fear Me. Turning off glow on certain objects can be really helpful, so take this specific example of a space background. These small corner pieces have a weird glow to them, which makes them look out of place, so simply turn off the glow and they look perfectly fine. If you've ever made an art or effect level, you're probably like me and gotten really annoyed at these weird particle effects that float around which can really kill the vibe of certain backgrounds. Originally, the only way to turn it off was to either go into the game's files and remove it, or turning low detail mode on in the main menu. But with the release of 2.1, a new trigger was added called BG Effect Off, which disables particle effects from appearing, which is a huge help. Almost every movement trigger should have some form of easing on them. This means using things like ease in and ease out to make the blocks smoothly moved, which looks way better than a sudden stop. This also applies to rotation triggers, as fast rotations with no easing can look ugly. The start of the level on your first attempt has a slight delay for any objects placed there, so making a background at the start of a level will take a bit to actually snap to the player on the first attempt, but will instantly follow the player on subsequent attempts. This can be avoided by moving the background backwards towards the player to make it connect with the player on the first attempt. Blending is a super useful tool that's been around since the beginning of time. It works well on glow and gives it a smooth fade instead of the solid normal glow style, which looks fairly ugly. Try to avoid empty black auto sections in your level, as it ends up just being empty, wasted space that could be filled with decoration or even actual gameplay. This makes the level constantly engaging with the player and can make it really enjoyable.